Shalom, Yashala, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh. I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Yasharallah. Call Holoyim Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Harakah Kodash, for blessing our elders with the spirit of truth, so that we may know. Shout out to the Akim and the Akwaf that's keeping the faith and the works. Y'all keep at it. It's your brother Abaya coming at you with more precepts. It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3 and verse 4. It says, "And he said unto me, Son of man, go get thee unto the house of Israel and speak with my words unto them." All right, and the words that the Most High's people, the men of the Lord, have been speaking is, prepare yourself. Prepare for what's to come, because it's written in the book. Everything that's going on today, everything that's going on now, at the same time, is written in the book. All right, so let me see. Slot 1 second. Let me look for this precept right quick. Okay, same book, same chapter. Ezekiel 3 and verse 17. It says, "Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me." All right, so the Most High has been warning His people. I'm talking about for a long time now, and that warning ain't gonna go on forever. It's eventually gonna cease, because what's being warned about has to come to pass. All right, so let me go to the book of Habakkuk, or Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 2. It says, "And Yahweh answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, right? But at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry." So it's gonna come a point to where the prophets, the men of the Lord, are not gonna be speaking. The prophecies will be speaking, because you will be in the midst of those prophecies. Right? And the main prophecy for real, that's being spoken is 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 7. "But the end of all things is at hand. Be therefore sober and watch unto prayer." All right? So with that, let this video play and I'll be back.
Finnish and Swedish leadership confirmed over the weekend that their governments will seek NATO membership. Their respective parliaments are expected to discuss and approve the decision in the coming weeks. The move marks a stark departure from decades of neutrality for both countries. AP confirms that Sweden has not been a member of a military alliance since the Napoleonic Wars, while Finland has remained non-aligned since World War II.
The road to NATO membership for the two Nordic countries could prove difficult. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov told State News today that Finland and Sweden should have no illusions that we will simply put up with it, and nor should Brussels, Washington, and other NATO capitals. Additionally, Turkish President Erdogan told reporters that his government is not favorable to NATO bids from Helsinki and Stockholm, indicating that Turkey could use its member status to veto the two countries' admittance.
Yeah, and that's probably likely. I mean, all 30 NATO countries have to agree to allow in new members. So Finland and Sweden can say that they want to join NATO all they want. If any of the countries, of the other 30 countries, block, then they won't be admitted into NATO. So it's highly likely that they're not going to be admitted into NATO. Turkey, in particular, I would think doesn't want to send... They don't want to go to war with Russia at the end of the day. That's, I think, what Turkey is really trying to avoid. They've been playing footsie with Russia for a long time now, and I don't even know if Turkey's still staying in NATO, and they do provide us the largest ground military force. But, I'm kind of wondering if Turkey really wants to stick around in the alliance, but...
All right, so at the end of the day, whether or not they get involved with NATO at all, you just heard what that lady just said. These countries have not been in league with other countries pertaining to anything dealing with war since the Napoleon era. But now, all of a sudden, they being introduced in this topic. It's things going on in this earth, man, right, the end of all things is here. This is the book of Joel, chapter 3 and verse 2. It says, I will also gather all nations, not some, all nations, and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people, and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. This is prophetic, what we're seeing, right? And like I said, this ain't the only prophetic thing that's happening, man. You got global inflation, which is leading to food shortages, which is leading to civil unrest. And civil unrest really has already been around based off of the different policies of the land that are unfair to the people, based off of the different, ways that they enact said policies, draconian style. And also, which is leading to digital everything. This world is becoming a new thing, right? And that's pertaining to the beast and its image, right? That's spoken of in the book of Revelation. All of these things are happening at the same time, right? So let me go to the book of Second Ezra. Second Ezra, chapter 16, and verse 17, it says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. Right, the beginning of sorrows is what we're speaking on, and to be real with you, the beginning of sorrows had been started. You know what I'm saying? But like Scripture says, the plagues come like a woman in travail, like a woman that's giving birth, and right, and it comes closer and closer and closer and harder and harder and harder until ultimately, right, a birth. But this is the book of Matthew, chapter 24. And verse 3, it says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? Right? Now, I bring this point out all the time. When it says the end of the world, it's not talking about the end of the earth. It's talking about the end of Esau's rulership, right? According to 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 9 in the Apocrypha. Right, it says, and Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Right, so don't be troubled at those things, because the end is not yet, if that's all that you're focusing on. Right, so he's about to go into naming the things that should let your mind know you're in the beginning of sorrows. It says in verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Right, them same beginning of sorrows that we read in 2nd Ezra chapter 16. Right, it says, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. It's already started. They already hating the men of the Lord and the Most High's people that are coming back and waking up to who they really are, based off of doctrine alone. That's us being hated for Yahweh Shem Hawashi's name's sake. And if you pay attention to the way that they are handling like these different mass shootings, right? They sly way throwing hints that is based off of doctrine that's been spoken on social media, right? Like this last little mass shooting that happened in Buffalo, New York. Said he was motivated by replacement theory, right? And they attached that to the KKK, right? But I can recall, right, when I first heard this truth about, I want to say 6-7 years ago. When I first heard this truth, they were comparing Hebrew Israelites to the KKK, and they still do it to this day, right? But that kind of got debunked, kind of sort of. But it's like I said, they still do it. They still do it because we don't physically go hurt anybody. Scripture tells us, if at all possible, be at peace with all men. Right? But they are throwing both names in the same pot. All of this is training a mentality for things to come. And we're reading about those things to come. Read this again, Matthew 24:9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Right? That's a righteous thing, though. Right? It's a righteous thing to be hated for the name of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai over being hated for the name of colors or a street that you don't own, right? That you barely able to live on, right? Or a side of town or a state. None of this stuff is yours, but you steadily dying off of it. And you steadily seen a certain way by representing these things, right? By throwing those things up with your fingers. You understand what I'm saying? This is a righteous thing to be hated for Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai's namesake, right? Verse 10, it says, and then shall many be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Now that got my mind going into Revelation 13, where it says he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in his forehead or in his right hand. So if you don't take this thing, you already know they're going to incentivize it, right? The same way they did it with the jab, right? All of this stuff is happening at the same time, but to the untrained eye, you know what I'm saying, you really can't connect them dots like that. But the Most High bless certain ones of his people to have an eye to see and an ear to hear. So when we see these things, our mind instantly go to Scripture, instantly go to prophecies, right? Because it said in the book of Habakkuk, in the end, they shall speak, right? So with that, man, let me go to the book of Romans, and I'll end with this. Because if you don't know what time it is, you might want to find out before time is up. So this Romans 13:11, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than we believed. Right? The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light. Let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting and drunkenness, not in chambering and wantonness, not in strife and envying, but put ye on Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, and make not provision for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof. Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai Ratazah. These precepts in this video were edifying. Call Haloyim Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Harakah Kodash. Shalom Yashala.